Krishna, devotees. Hi Krishna, everyone. Saturday morning. And here at the Bhakti Yoga Retreat, we have Ramachandra Prabhu, Narayan Prabhu, Bhakta Eze, Bhaktin Brielle. And online, we have Damayanti Prabhu, Gauda Prabhu, Ladini Shakti Prabhu, and Nandini Prabhu. We have Dear Govinda Prabhu and Bhakta Kiss, I see. And Bhaktin Prayal is here, Bhaktin Kim, Gajendra Prabhu, Bhakta George, and maybe Daniel, I'm not sure, and Rohini Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. So today is Saturday morning, and I was thinking like, on Saturday, I like to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, so that's what we are going to do. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyanacharashakaya Shakshurmiritam Chena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharini. Nirvisishya Shunyavadi Bhaskacharya Jatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Premapadayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Tusi. Gaura Tusi Namaha. So, Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, and he's no different than Krishna himself, just the difference is the color. And he's coming as Krishna himself in a mood of Srimati Radharani. And in that mood is really like experiencing also the mood of a devotee. And through his example, through his life, his precept, through his activities, then we get to know what it is, what's the life of a devotee. And as we read through his pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Srila Prabhupada so kindly gave us, we get to see what's a boon. What's a boon to be a devotee? What a beautiful life it is to be a devotee. So Lord Chaitanya, he only gave us Shikshastakam, 8 verses, written teaching. Of course, we have a lot of his teaching through the record of his associate, and his associate have written notes. They were journaling, being around him. Swarup Damodar is one of them, and but he himself, he only wrote those 8 verses called the Shiksha Astakam. Shiksha means instruction, Astakam means 8 verses. So 8 verses of instruction from Lord Chaitanya. And it's just happened that the last chapter, the very last chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is 17 volumes. And chapter 20th of the Antya lila, the later pastime of Lord Chaitanya, is entitled the Shikshastakam. So, and it's all, I wanted to speak about the holy name of the Lord today, because the holy name of the Lord are so sweet, and they are such a mercy. I want to share that in my life, the holy name of the Lord have been my best friend, and they continue to be my best friend. There is no other shelter, at least for me, and I hope for the rest of the world too, that there is no other shelter than the holy name of the Lord. The Lord is non-different than his holy name. So when we chant his holy name, we are directly in contact, directly in presence of the Lord. And that's so merciful of the Lord to take that form of sound vibration in order to make himself very accessible and tangibly experienced. So I'm going to start at the very beginning, not quite the very, very beginning. So I will skip a little bit. So again, it's chapter 20th of Antya lila, which is the last chapter of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can start with text 1. Premod bhavita arshesyod vegadanyerti mishritam lapitam go chandrasya Bhagavad Nishevyate. Translation. Only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which mix with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic, loving emotion. Text 2. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra. All glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord is appearing 5 features. Panchatattva, and there is that's a complete. The Lord is complete with all his different manifestations, including all his devotees. Emata Mahaprabhu Vaisheni Lachale Rajani Divasi Krishna Vira Vivale. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just resided at Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by his separation from Krishna. So he shows us, like, for us, it's about like the whole movement of Lord Chaitanya is to understand the mood of separation. That we are not saying, I want Krishna, or I want Krishna to be there, or it's not even seeking association. It's to experience that separation from Krishna. And as we experience that separation from Krishna, naturally we are in contact with Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya, he, throughout his pastime, he really shows that mood. Swau Ramananda Edu Ichana Sani Ratridine Rasa Gita Shloka Ashvadane. Day and night he tested transcendental blissful songs and verses with 2 associates, namely Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai. So during most of his pastime in Jagannath Puri, those 2 were with Lord Chaitanya, helping him connect. And yeah, that's they have an interesting rasa because they are always with Lord Chaitanya, and so they are there and they recite verses to Lord Chaitanya about the pastime of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. And then when they do that, Lord Chaitanya go into ecstasy. And when Lord Chaitanya go into ecstasy, he have all kind of symptoms happening in his body. And then when that happened, then Ramananda and Swarup Damodar, they become so worried. They say, well, what's happening is he leaving his body because he has so many symptoms that are so worrisome. So they chant Hare Krishna to get him out. And then when he's out, again, they want to serve him by helping him to taste the nectar and mellow of the pastime of Krishna. So that's their relationship with Lord Chaitanya, which is back and forth being worried about his state of being when he's experiencing the ecstasy of love of God, and then taking him there by sharing about the pastime of Krishna. Nana Bhava Ute Prabhu Arsha Shoka Rosa Danyodvega Arti Utkanta Santosha. He relished the symptom of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, and satisfaction. Se bhavinija shloka padiya, shlokera arta ashvadaye, dui bandulana. He will recite his own verses expressing their meaning and emotion, and thus enjoy testing them with those two friends. So Lord Chaitanya will recite his own verses and explain them to us. Kona dine kona bhavi shloka patana, she shloke ashvadite ratri jaganrana. Sometimes the Lord will be absorbed in a particular emotion and will stay awake all night reciting related verses and relishing their tests. It's all about test, rasa. Arche Prabhu Kaena, Shuna Swarup Ramarai, Namasankirtan Kalao Parama Upaya. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Prabhu said, "My dear Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, know for me that chanting of the holy name is the most feasible means of salvation in the age of Kali." I repeat, Lord Chaitanya speaking to his dear associates, and he says, "My dear Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, know from me that chanting of the holy names is the most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. Sankirtan Yagya Kalao Krishna Aradhana Seta Sameda Pai Krishnera Charana." In this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya is telling us that this is a means to get salvation. And if we are intelligent, we are going to take shelter of the holy name of the Lord. In a purport, Srila Prabhupada said, for further information, one may refer to the Adi Lila, chapter 3, text 77 to 78. And then a very famous verse, Krishna Varnam Trisa Krishna, Sango Pankas Traparshadam, Yagya Sankirtana prayer, Yajantihi Sumeda Saha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. So that Lord Chaitanya. Also, his complexion is not blackish. He is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associate, servant, weapons, and confidential companions. Purport. This verse is spoken by Saint Karabajan in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. For further information, see Adi Lila, chapter 3, text 52. So we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse that describes Lord Chaitanya with Krishna himself, but in a yellow complexion, and who comes to give us the holy name of the Lord, the Sankirtan Yaga, sacrifice for this age of Kali. And he comes with his associate and servants. Yeah. Nama Sankirtan Aite Sarvanartanas Sarva Subodaya Krishna Premera Ulas. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be free from all undesirable habits. This is a means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of wave of love of Krishna. So not only the holy name of the Lord free us, give us salvation, the holy name of the Lord has the power to give us love of God, love of Krishna. And then here we go to the first verse of the Shikshastaka. Cheto darpanam marjanam bhavam mahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya karyarava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam Ananda buddhivadanam pratipadam purnam vistasvadanam Sarvatmasna paramparam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the misery of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is a waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone, enable ones to taste full nectar at every step. Purport. This is the first verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikshastaka. The other 7 verses are found in text 16, 21, 29, 32, 36, 39, and 47. I remember when Peyal, you had a program at your house, and you asked me to speak on the holy name, and I was really happy to speak on this verse and to really take each aspect of this verse, the cleansing. And here it said cleansing of the heart. In other translation, he said the Maha mantra clean the mind of all the dust accumulated for years. So as we live through so many lifetimes, we accumulate image, we accumulate impression, we accumulate so much dust in our mind, in our heart. And then by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we get to clean that dust accumulated for years. And it says that it extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated births and deaths. And that fire is so difficult to extinguish. There is always something burning inside. I can see it in my heart. There is always something burning inside that wants something. There is a want. There is some kind of want. It's always burning. Maybe it will be the next adventure, or maybe the next things that come from Amazon in a box. It's a joke in our household. Maybe it's like a new person that we are going to meet, or a new adventure, a new service, a new something new. Prabhupada said it's our disease. We always want something new. So that burning fire of material existence, of repeated birth and death, that's what it is. Every time we respond to that fire, that want, which just fuel that cycle of birth and death. That's all we say, like Prabhupada says, like the crow like crow. Yeah, he attracts he attracts death, really. So and it is the life of all transcendental knowledge. So if we really want to know Krishna, if we really want to have transcendental knowledge, then through the chanting of the holy name, all knowledge, everything is manifested. The whole everything, the whole understanding of the cosmic manifestation and the whole understanding of the spiritual world is all contained within the Maha Mantra. And it increases the ocean of bliss and enables us to taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So through chanting the holy name of the Lord, we get to be happy for no reason. That's what's available. For no reason. A2, reason is to A2, I to keep. Like no reason. So because that's our constitutional position, is that by nature we are happy. Satchit Ananda. Ananda is our birthright. So by chanting the holy name of the Lord, that ocean of bliss, that's our birthright, is increased at every moment. And then we get to taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. I can see the nectar for which we are always anxious, very connected with the fire that's burning within ourselves. We have those wants. They have a core. They are just the perverted reflection of those wants. They are like trying to find water in a desert. But in reality, we are anxious. We are anxious for Krishna. We are anxious within our heart. We are anxious for service to Krishna. We are anxious to see Krishna smile to us. So this is the first verse of the Shikshastakam. And we can continue and hear from Lord Chaitanya. Sankirtan aite papa samsara nashana, chite sudhi sarva bhakti sadhana ugama. By performing conditional chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. Krishna premodgama premamrita ashvadana, Krishna prapti sevamrita samudre majana. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss, unlimited, ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in his devotional service as if immersing himself in a great ocean of love. Lord Chaitanya is so poetic. Utila Vishada Dainya Pade Apana Shloka Ya Ava Arta Shuni Shaba Ya Dukkha Shoka. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began reciting another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. Nam nam makari baudani jasharva shaktis tatra pitani amita smarane nakala etadrisita vakripa bhagavan mamapi Dudaiva midrishamiya janinanuaga. My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, also you bestow such a mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names. I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. So the Lord of so many holy names, he gives us his name freely, and those holy names are invested with all the Lord's potencies. And so the holy name give, it's like a window to the spiritual world, to that spiritual emotion of love of God. But we can all see in our hearts that when we are not feeling that ecstasy of love God, what is in the way? And Lord Chaitanya is giving us that example. He's speaking, he said, I'm so unfortunate. I'm so unfortunate that I'm not testing the holy name because I'm committing offenses, because I have no attraction for them. Aneka lokera vancha, aneka prakara, kripate karila aneka, namera prachara. Because people vary in their desires, you have distributed various holy names by your mercy. So that's really, I really appreciated this verse, because we can see there is so many holy names, Allah, Jehovah, so many holy names that the Lord gives us. And here we understand that the Lord presents himself in different form, in different name, with different teaching, according to our own inner desire to see him, to approach him, to be with him. Kaiti shuite yata tata namalai, kaladesha niyamanahi sarva siddhihai. Regardless of time or place, one would chant the holy name, even while eating or sleeping, attempts all perfection. Sarva Shakti Name Dile Kariya Vibhaga, Amaradu Daiva Name Nai Anuraga. You have invested all full potencies in each individual holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attachment for chanting your holy names. Again, Lord Chaitanya speaking, he takes a mood of a devotee, takes a mood, humble mood of a devotee. Yerupe lailal nama prema upajaya, tara lakshana suna, Swarupramaroy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continue. O Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy, here for me is a symptom of how one should chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to awaken very easily one's dormant love for Krishna. Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Madanena Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Uttama ana apanake manatrina dhamma. Duipakare suisnuta kare vriksham sama. These are the symptoms of one who chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Also, he is very exalted. He thinks himself lower than the grass on the ground. And like a tree, he tolerates everything in two ways. Vrikshayena katileha kichuna bolaya sukana maileha kare panina magaya. When a tree is cut down, he does not protest, and even when he is drying up, he does not ask anyone for water. Ye magaye taredeya apanadana Garma vritse sahihanera karaye rakshana. The tree delivers its fruits, flower, and whatever it possesses to anyone and everyone. It tolerates scorching heat and torrents of rain, yet it still gives shelter to others. What a great example. The tree gives everything it has and tolerates everything that comes to him. Uttama ana Vaishnava be nirabhimamana jive samana di bejani Krishna adistana. Also, Vaishnava is the most exalted person. He is prideless and gives all respect to everyone, knowing everyone to be the resting place of Krishna. Is that something to aspire to see everyone as a resting place of Krishna and to give respect to everyone because everyone is a resting place of Krishna. If we could get to that, if I could get to that, to really see Krishna there, Krishna loving that spirit soul, Krishna being in charge of that person, then it will be so easy to chant the holy name of Krishna constantly in that space of full respect and admiration for everyone. Emata ana Krishna namalaya, Shri Krishna charanitanra prema upajaya. If one chants the holy name of Lord Krishna in this manner, he will certainly awaken his dormant love for Krishna's lotus feet. Kaite Prabhu Dainya Badila Shuddha Bhakti Krishna Tani Magite Lagila. As Lord Chaitanya spoke in this way, his humility increased, and he began praying to Krishna that he could discharge pure devotional service. Premara Swabhava Yahan Premara Sambandha Semane Krishna Moranahi Prema Ganda. Wherever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, its natural symptom is that the devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he has not even a drop of love for Krishna. What a contradiction, isn't it? Something not to imitate, of course, but what a contradiction. That if a devotee is really truly in love with Krishna, he only thinks of one thing, is that he's not a devotee. He only thinks that I'm so fallen, I'm so far away from Krishna. Lately, we have been in our household, once a week we go over the song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur from his book Sharanagati. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur so much manifests that mood. Like he's in love with Krishna, he knows Krishna, he can speak with Krishna, he hears from Krishna, and all he sees how fallen he is, and how what he have done in his life, and how he have been attached to his family and to his friend, and how proud he has been of his education, and that's all he can see. And so Lord Chaitanya is showing the same mood, and his pure devotees are showing too. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that persons who are actually very poor because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that persons who are actually very poor because they possess not even a drop of love of Godhead or pure devotional service falsely advertise themselves as great devotees. Also, they cannot at any time relish the transcendental bliss of devotional service. So that also seems like a contradiction, that some people, they falsely show themselves as great devotees. And even so, when they want to make a show, they want people to know that, even so they don't possess, according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even a drop of the transcendental bliss of devotional service. A class of so-called men known as Prakrita Sahajiya sometimes display devotional symptoms to exhibit their good fortune. They are pretending, however, because these devotional features are only external. The Prakrita Sahajiya exhibit this symptom to advertise their so-called advancement in love of Krishna. But instead of praising the Prakrita Sahajiya for the symptom of transcendental ecstasy, pure devotees do not like to associate with them. It is not advisable to equate the Prakrita Sahajiya with pure devotees. When one is actually advanced in ecstatic love of Krishna, he does not try to advertise himself. Instead, he endeavors more and more to render service to the Lord. So the symptom of a pure devotee is that he renders service to the Lord, and that's all he does all the time. And we can see that in Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada never advertised himself, or he didn't make a show of transcendental ecstasy or love of God, or present himself as a great advanced devotee. What he did do, though, is serve the Lord 24 hours a day, every single day, taking so much austerity and sacrifice to fulfill the mission of Lord Chaitanya of saving the conditioned soul all over the world. And he came at such a high price. He came to the West with nothing. And even when he had so many disciples, like I just finished in the end of a biography of Srila Prabhupada, and he travels so extensively. I cannot imagine myself every 2 days or few days moving from one place on the globe to another place and then start again, going to program and dealing with whatever problem is there and interpersonal and all that. It's so inconceivable what Srila Prabhupada was doing. And he was doing it because his only thought was to serve Krishna, was to make Krishna happy, was to bring Krishna, the lost conditioned soul back to Krishna. And that's the symptom of a pure devotee. It's not the ecstasy, it's not a show of anything, it's that he serves, and that's all he does. He wants to serve and make the spiritual master men go, and Krishna makes them happy. So I will continue. The Prakrita Sahaja sometimes criticize pure devotee by calling them philosophers, learned scholars, knowers of the truth, or minute observers, but not devotees. So those who are, think they have the rasa with Krishna, or they have like the ecstasy of Krishna, something. When they look at devotees, they think, oh, it's just a philosopher, or they're just, they minimize their achievement, or they minimize their teaching. On the other hand, they depict themselves as the most advanced, transcending, blissful devotee, deeply absorbed in devotional service and mad to test transcendental mellows. They also describe themselves as the most advanced devotees in spontaneous love, as knower of transcendental mellows, as the topmost devotees in conjugal love of Krishna, and so on, not accurately knowing the transcendental nature of love of God. They accept their material emotions. That's a really important part. They accept their material emotion to be indicative of advancement. Oh, Krishna! Oh, Krishna! So that's material emotions. That's transformed into like spiritual show. In this way, they pollute the process of devotional service. They try to become writers of Vaishnava literature. They introduce their material conception of life into pure devotional service. Because of their material conception, they advertise themselves as knowers of transcendental mellows. But they do not understand the transcendental nature of devotional service. I really like that purport. That's where I wanted to land today, is this purport. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada speak about the Prakrita Sahaja. So like we discussed yesterday, we can look at the Prakrita Sahaja as a, obscure sect, something that's happened in India. Or we can take a look at, okay, where is the Prakrita Sahaja within myself? Where is it that I'm trying to be more advanced than I am? Where is it that I'm trying to show some advancement that's not really real? And Srila Prabhupada make it very easy to us. And yesterday we were reading from the Sri Upanishad about the fever, like about the fever in the Sri Upanishad in the purport, Vaishnavi reading group. We are reading about how in material existence we try to increase the fever. We increased, Prabhupada said, to 107. We increased the fever to 107. And so Srila Prabhupada make it very simple. If we want to know how advanced we are, we just need to look at our fever. And if we see our fever of material desire and all our grudges, material emotion, and we can just, it's very, very easily to see how advanced we are. We don't need to make a big show. We don't need to like cry to Krishna or whatever. It's okay. We will see our spiritual advancement by the decrease of our material desire. That's one way. And then naturally, when our material desire decreases, our spiritual desire will increase. And the spiritual desire of a pure devotee and the devotee of the Lord, the spiritual desire is to serve the Lord. It's not about me. It's not about my advancement. It's not about my ecstasy. It's not about my bliss. It's not about my anything. And if it is about my anything, then this is not spiritual advancement. It's just confusing material emotion and material conception with spiritual life. So we can all look at ourselves. Where is it that we are really focused on the pleasure of the Lord and focusing on the advancement of others? Like I was reading, yesterday. It was yesterday. The mood of Srimati Radharani. It's so touching. It's so amazing. And our mood is that if someone else pleases Krishna and Krishna is pleased with that person, I'm going to beg that person to be in service to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of the purports, he gave the example, he gave a story from one of the Puranas, and I don't remember the names, but anyway, there was once a Brahman and he had leprosy. And he really wanted, he was sick and his wife was taking care of him. His wife was very surrendered, submissive wife, was taking care of her husband. All she wanted is to serve her husband and make sure her husband is pleased and comfortable. And the Brahman, he was attracted to a prostitute. He was really attracted to a beautiful prostitute. And he wanted to enjoy with her. And the woman, the wife of that Brahman, she went to that prostitute and she became the maid servant of that prostitute. She began to serve her. She began to give her everything she wanted. And she was begging him, please come to my husband. And the prostitute, she became so pleased and so moved by the dedication of that woman that she did go. And then when she did go there, the man, he became aware of how great his wife was. And then there is another part of the story, but I don't remember the detail of it. So I'm not going to say the other part of the story. But he began to realize how great his wife was, and then he surrendered. The other part of the story is that at one point he died. He was cursed to die, and I don't remember the curse part, but he was cursed to die at sunrise. And that devotee, that wife of the Brahman, she started to do austerity and sacrifice, and she was able to control the sunrise. That's how powerful she was to her austerity and to her service attitude, that she had developed mystic powers that she stopped the sun from rising. So that's the mood, and that's the mood of the devotees. The devotees is not at all inclined to his own advancement. He wants everybody to be more advanced than him. He wants everybody to be towards Krishna. He wants everybody to be in connection with Krishna, and he wants Krishna to love them. He wants Krishna to enjoy them. He's not at all concerned with his own enjoyment. And Srimati Radharani, she is so like that. So if Krishna is in love with someone and that person can give more pleasure to Krishna, I'm going to bring that person to Krishna. And it doesn't matter if Krishna look at me. It doesn't matter if Krishna come to me. What makes me the most happy is that Krishna is happy. So that's the mood of the devotee. So we can look like in what way are we confusing our material conception and our material emotion with the spiritual process, with bhakti yoga, with devotional service, and to all those weeds of prakrita sahaja that is in our heart, like wanted to be seen, wanted to be noticed, wanted to be acknowledged for our devotional service, wanted to be recognized, appreciated, worshipped, admired, you name it. All those grunges, all those material desire in our heart. I can see all of them in my heart. All of them, different time, different moments. They creep again and again. And as long as those are here, we are not going to relish the real test. And the real test of Krishna consciousness come when we don't have the desire to relish it. when our only desire is to serve Krishna, when we are no more concerned by our own advancement or our own bliss or ecstasy, when we are only concerned with just the the pleasure of the pure devotee, pleasing Srila Prabhupada. Lately, I've been really intensely focusing on how, Srila Prabhupada, I want to understand what can I do more to please you? Where do you want me to be? What do you want me to do? I want you to be glorified. I want you to be known for creating the most beautiful community in the world. I want you to be known for giving the best life to people who choose to follow you. That there is no better life than the life you are giving us. And I want to repay the debt, and I know I will never pay the debt to Srila Prabhupada of the beautiful lives that he has given me. And at the same time, I feel like, okay, maybe I can do something. Even so, I'm never going to do much. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do is going to be very little. Still, I want to do something. And we can pray like that, Srila Prabhupada. How can I please you? How can I really focus my life on seeing a smile on your face? Yesterday, I read an article written by Mother Damayanti, and she was speaking about parents and parents acting in such a way that we see sparkle in the eyes of their children. So I was thinking, it's very, very, very inspiring to read that article. It's so well written and humble, a lot of humility and grounded in reality, and at the same time presenting a perspective of a way to help the world by parents being really showing up 100%, giving 100%, showing up in their own life to have the admiration of their children, that their children are so proud of their parents, that their eyes sparkle when they see their children. So I was thinking of that, and I was thinking like, yeah, I want that. I want to serve in such a way that I will see a smile on Srila Prabhupada's face, that I will see sparkle. Like in that biography that I was reading, there was the different instance where Srila Prabhupada is so pleased. Maybe it's a meal that a cook prepared. Or yesterday, towards the end, there is a Vyasasan. Someone was made in Vyasasan, and Srila Prabhupada was so pleased. He called the person. He wanted to know who made that Vyasasan, to just like show his happiness, how satisfied he was. He could see the love and devotion. Of course, it's not about being the best upholsterer or the best carpenter to show like, oh, I'm so good. No, it's because Prabhupada could taste the love in that Vyasasan. He could see like every nail, every part of Vyasasan was serving him with love and devotion. And that pleased Srila Prabhupada, to focus on how can I please Srila Prabhupada? How can I bring a smile to Srila Prabhupada's face? How can I be in service that Prabhupada is going to be more and more glorified all over the world? That people will know Prabhupada's dedication to make us happy, to see us happy, to see us having the best life that's possible while entangled in the material energy. I'm going to stop here. Thank you. It was a pleasure for me to share Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's teaching with you. And I will open it for comment, question, realization. Hare Krishna.
For me, always around the Trinadapi Sunicana verse, I endeavor to consider like how to realistically apply that in my practice, in my life, because with that and any sort of spiritual aspiration or goal, stage, my tendency is to, compare, to definitely to like think that I should be there, and to feel like shame. And I've seen that a lot, you know, and it seems to be ubiquitous in any society, tradition. Like we hear these about saints, or we hear about these higher states of consciousness, and I know for me it's like, oh, that's the way I'm supposed to be, and I'm not. So I'm like, I'm so terrible. And then it goes into like a grungy thing. And with a tree, you know, to be specific with that, like with the tolerance of a tree, or the humility of a blade of grass on the street, you know, I see how like that easily translates for most people, maybe, and definitely for me, it's like, oh, I should be like so tolerant, and then like inside I'm like so resentful. on the outside I'm like trying to swallow my tongue, or you know, resist what's really going on. And yeah, I'm curious if there's like if you could cite maybe some Shastric guidance around how to navigate that gap.
How to navigate that gap. I'm not sure I will quote Shastra, but you know, I appreciate because the trap of false humility, you know, it's the trap of false humility is also a trap in spiritual life. There is two parts of spiritual life that are really presented in all Srila Prabhupada's books and in the Veda, and the two tracks are both so important. And if we miss one of them, we miss the complete process. And the two tracks are, and I will just take an example of a map, is to know where I am at and to know where I'm going. So so if I don't know where I am at, and I think I'm more advanced than I am, then it's going to be difficult for me to apply the right medicine to my disease, because I don't see my disease. If I'm imagining that, yes, I'm more humble than a blade of grass. Yes, I am. I'm more tolerant than a tree, but inside, really, it's not the truth. Inside, I'm resentful, angry, intolerant, and I don't feel like bending like a blade of grass and accepting what's going on around. Then I'm not meeting myself where I am at. I'm just not meeting myself where I am at. And without doing that, then progress in spiritual life are going to be very difficult. Like sometimes I give an example. Let's say I'm in Paris. Yeah, let's say I'm in Paris, and then I want to go to New York, but I'm thinking that really where I am is Los Angeles. Really, I'm in Los Angeles. That's where I am. I'm humble, I'm tolerant, I'm advanced, I love Krishna, I have tears in my eyes when I chant Hare Krishna. I'm in Los Angeles. So from Los Angeles, if I go west, from Los Angeles, if I go if I think I'm in Los Angeles and I'm really in Paris, then sorry, my brain is having trouble right now. So if I'm in Paris, but I think I'm in Los Angeles, then to go to New York, I will go east, and I will travel east for a long, long time. And where I will land up is Moscow. I will never arrive in New York. So the Shastra is giving both, like look, you're under the three modes of material nature, and you're conditioned by passion and ignorance. And here are the symptoms. It's not only that, we have all the symptoms. So if we are honest, we should be able to see where I am at. But what creates the guilt and shame is expectation that I should be somewhere else. And as long as that expectation that I should be somewhere else is there, then it's going to be really difficult in all humility to accept where I am at. And in reality, to accept where we are at is bring us right away further on the journey of being humbler than the glass. Yeah. And so in terms of Shastra, the only quote I can think, and we can ask Dear Govinda Prabhu, I'm sure he has a lot to share, but it's like in the Bhagavad Gita, I said, tolerating without being disturbed. So if I tolerate externally, I'm not tolerating without being disturbed. Mm-hmm. I'm tolerating with being disturbed. Mm-hmm. And I'm not honest about it. Yeah, I'm not willing for others to see where I am at. I'm not willing to like, okay, that's where I am at. I'm not very advanced, but not because, I don't need to say that. I just act according to what's true for me. And then the world can decide what they do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do you want to share more? Mm-hmm. Dear Govinda, would you like to have Shastric something? Because Narayan wanted Shastra, and there's nothing that comes to my mind right now beside that part of the Bhagavad Gita. And something I've read, the whole picture of the whole.
For me, that was Shastric, you know, in giving the clear, like the two, paths given, and that's definitely clear.
It's clear. Thank you. And I still would like to hear from Dear Govinda. And yes, often Srila Prabhupada is criticized for hammering home, like the basic philosophy, like you're not this body, and you're entangled in a three modes of material nature, and you're under lust and anger and madness and all those things, and we cannot go to New York if we don't know where we are. But it's important to know New York. It's so important to know where New York is, what New York looks like, what I'm going to do there, what's the activity of New York, all that. It's so important. But without the other side, then it's not complete. So, and the other side also on its own is not complete. If I'm just like personal development, digging, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, maybe I know where I am at, but if I don't know where I'm going, what's the point? Yeah. Thank you, Narayan. Dear Govinda, would you like to share something?
I'm appreciating the question and the discussion, and I very much am moved by your presentation on that final. It's the final chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Shikshastakam. Really, like if someone's reading Prabhupada's books in the full cycle, that's the last chapter after Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Krishna book and Ishopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, and then the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's the last chapter of the last volume. And I liked how you, in a very animated way, showed the Prakrita Sahajiya mood. And yeah, thank you, Narayan, for your question. And well, I thought that was an ideal Shastric response, with the map. And then essentially you reference Matras Parshas Tukantya Shitoshna Sukadugada Agamapaino Nichas Tams Titikshas Vavarata. Krishna says the appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course, or like the appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O son of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So that completely addressed what Ryan asked, because he was talking about, because yeah, like that we might be externally tolerating, but internally I'm disturbed. So that's not, yeah, that's not that verse, right? That's to tolerate without being disturbed. And so for me, it relates to this. I'm disturbed because I'm confusing humility with being humiliated. And so like my honor is being assaulted, and I'm being disrespected, and so whereas that this, because a conception of humility can be like connected with being humiliated, whereas actually humility, as Lord Chaitanya is talking about, Trinada Pisunichina Tori Vasahishna Manina Manadina Kirtanya Sadhari, actual humility, it's freedom. It's blissful freedom.
Yeah.
That actual freedom means, okay, whatever you say about me, whatever you do, whatever happens, you praise me, you insult me, whatever happens, you cannot prevent me from continuing to serve Krishna with full enthusiasm. That's freedom. And that requires humility, because if I'm not humble, like, because again, like the imagery, let's call it our, in our typical modern or postmodern conceptions, the imagery is like, oh, this means you're advocating low self-esteem, to be trampled on like the grass. The tree does not even protest when it once would, or something, when it's dried up. But yes, so it's quite a different paradigm. That that if I'm not humble, if I'm not like more tolerant than a tree, more humble than a blade of grass, then I'm going to be distracted from my actual path of bliss, which is serving Krishna with love and devotion. Because this one didn't respect me enough. I'm not appreciated enough here. He's getting more than he deserves, and I should pull him down. And that whole thing. And so then we're always going to be distracted. We're going to be like a puppet on a string. We're going to be like a puppet on a string. And so I guess maybe I thought that was the ideal verse. Tam Titikshas Bharata. That's chapter 2, text 14, Bhagavad Gita. I think a related verse is the Tate Nukampam verse. Tate Nukampam Susamikshamano Bunjana Evat Makritam Vipakam Vivag Vaporbir Vidadan Namaste Jivaiteyo Mukti Pade Sadaiba. We're just reading about that verse in our Chaitanya Charitamrita group, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He had a funny relationship with that verse. And so, that verse means that verse is like that's humility verse, that whatever happens, people are praising me, people are insulting me, and I'm being honored, I'm being defamed, I'm being vilified, I'm being glorified, whatever. I humbly respond to it as an opportunity to deepen my devotion to serve my spiritual master, and then just like with that mentality, then there's no room for the grungy stuff and the pretension, and I really like how you said, so then we can see if I'm making room for that other stuff, then that shows here's where I'm at. And I appreciate also that, we can do so much self-discovery, this and that. Here's where I'm at. I've discovered I'm in North Florida. No, this is a realization. It is important to realize I'm in North Florida, not Paris and not Los Angeles. And where am I going? And what does living on purpose mean? It's not just a cliche. So I've got this resentment because I want more honor, and I'm envious, and okay, so this is where I'm at. And then we can do so much processing, and that has its place. But if I know my goal, if I know my goal, yes, to that full 100% service to Krishna, okay, then that gives me impetus to clear whatever's in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's like, I appreciate what you said. Like, if we are constantly disturbed, then in a sense, it's because we are protecting our false ego. You know, how much of my energy is put like, oh, I'm protecting, I'm defending my false ego. And that's what I'm trying to get rid of by a spiritual process. Thank you. Back to Kiss.
I want to ask about a pit stop on the way to where we're supposed to be going. In reference to, I've been wanting to ask this, like, offer all respect, not expect any in return, and also about like dignity, self-dignity. Like, I feel like that's like a saintly, that offering all respect and not demanding it, that's like a saintly quality. And my sense is that like self-dignity would be like a human quality, like a principle, mode of goodness, or like Sri Aurobindo likes to say, like must become saintlyhood comes through adulthood. So I feel like dignity would be an aspect of adulthood, like a stepping stone. So I'm have trouble really understanding the difference between the two, or I'm not so clear on like what dignity is. You know, Martin Luther King, there was one where he said somebody came, he was sitting outside the church or something like that, and he was sitting there. My sense is that he was just really like a kid, you know, and he was there, and they asked him how he was, and he was saying something about how he wanted to just really have his dignity back, you know, like his endeavors and stuff. So yeah, if you could talk about this.
That's interesting. Yeah, so it's, you know, some similarity to Narayan's question, how we combine like offering respect to others and no respect for ourselves, with also having a sense of dignity and you know, self-respect. And what came to my mind is a song that we play in the advanced course. It's greatest love of all. You know, no matter what they do to me, they cannot take away my dignity. So dignity have nothing to do with anything external. And I do believe that dignity is a quality of Vaishnava, quality of the soul. And that's something nothing can take away. And when we are in an illusion that the external can take away, then we want to look at that. We want to look at how come I believe that that person can take my dignity away. What is it about me? Where is that? Where is it that that greatest love is not there? The greatest love of all is the love that's inside of me. And Srila Prabhupada, in a teaching of Prahlad Maharaj, I believe, he said, like, we need to love the self. So dignity is really loving oneself, but it has nothing to do with pride. Loving oneself, it doesn't have anything to do with pride or not offering all respect to others and not wanting any for ourselves. Another example, you took Martin Luther King as an example. So there's another public figure, it's Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl, he was in very severe situation, way more severe than Martin Luther King in many ways. And he was in concentration camp, being beaten, being starved, seeing everybody humiliated in so many ways. And really what's happened for him is that nobody can take away my dignity. And because he was really fixed on that, he was able to survive years of concentration camp when everybody else was dying. And yes, so the dignity is something deeper than external, connected with others. And at the same time, like, so again, like what we were sharing with Narayan, It's not about artificially trying to imitate. If my self-worth is cracked for some reason, and I artificially try to imitate the pure devotee by offering respect to others and not wanting any respect for myself, but in reality, within myself, I feel like I should be respected, or they mistreated me, then I'm not meeting myself where I am at either. I'm not seeing that, no, I don't respect people. No, in fact, I respect myself and I don't want to respect those people. And that should lead us to humility. If I realize that, there is more humility in realizing like, no, I don't want to give respect to that person, than imitating and giving respect and inside feeling crushed.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you get out of my sharing?
Yeah. So you're saying that that a step in that process is starting the first step in that 1,000 miles process is accepting, recognizing the fact that I don't feel like giving respect to everybody, and or people with that we can have that propensity, and just I guess appreciating what that true sense of dignity is, of wanting that self-love, appreciating the people who have that realization to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another aspect of what I shared is like, yes, if I realize like, I don't want to respect that person. I don't like that person. I don't want to respect that person. Then in that realization that my action are not going to be controlled by, oh, I should be humble or all that, then my action naturally will be infused with humility, because I realize, yeah, I don't like that person and I don't want to respect that person. And in that, there is less chance that I will act disrespectful and that I will act in a way that's mean to the other person, because I will just own that that's true for me, and then I will have less need to disrespect others.
Yeah, so you can be on guard and recognize where you're at, and be on guard not to be offensive, at least. Yeah, I've noticed without feeling a sense of my own self-dignity, that I just feel it just incapable of offering respect. Just like, who is offering respect? It just has to come before. It's not even something that I didn't like those people or anything like that. It's just simply the fact that I had no sense of who I was, my own self-dignity. I couldn't offer that respect because it wasn't founded on anything. But yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Bhaktakis. Thank you all. Yes, Damayanti. Oh.
Thank you for the class. Hare Krishna. When I started to listen to the class, like the verses, I thought it felt like painful, like I'm nowhere near these. I'm not devotional, and it's really foreign. Like, I was like, oh yeah, like hearing from Lord Chaitanya and his devotees, and hearing from you, and you have a devotional mood. I was like, it's feeling distant today. This morning I woke up, I didn't have a taste for chanting, and anyway, so I'm really glad that I stayed, and I feel transformed just staying in the class. I wasn't going to leave, but I was just like, oh, this is hard to listen to. But also I wanted to share that, and then also I wanted to say, like, we were talking a lot about being honest about where we're at, and I've been really connecting with the fact that when I'm not honest, it's like a form of cheating. Like, I'm trying to take a shortcut. I'm trying to have some other experience, but not take the long road, of starting where I'm at. So I really feel connected with like not being honest is a form of cheating. It's just like something that's been going through my mind.
It's a form of cheating that creates so much pain. Because like dear Govinda was sharing, honesty naturally leads to humility and freedom. Yeah, the truth will set you free. From the Bible, we hear that. And so you say like dishonesty, like not being willing to look like, I don't have tests today. I don't want to respect that person. I don't like that person. Then through that honesty, then first that dishonesty is cheating. I'm cheating myself, trying to like be bigger than I am, or be more advanced than I am, or be more important than I am. And then in that cheating propensity, I hurt myself, versus in the honesty, I set myself free.
Yes, and if you stay with the analogy of the road, like the map, or being on a road, then being dishonest is like trying to take a shortcut, but you're actually creating a longer journey to the goal. Like
Yes.
it's not, you're not going to get there that way. You have to go back and start again. You know?
Yeah, you arrive in Moscow and you're just like, what? I'm in Moscow, I'm so far away from New York. Thank you for your comment, Damayanti Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Shikshastakam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.